wellbeing.ca, and welcome back to Lifestyle is the New Medicine, where we teach you what you can do to live the kind of lifestyle that supports you to be vibrantly healthy so you can get the most out of life. In this interview, we are speaking with Brocco Haubrich. Hi, Brocco.
Hi, Tina. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Doing great, thank you.
And thank you so much for joining us, Brocco.
Of course, I'm honored to be on the summit. Thank you for the invite.
Oh, my pleasure. So Brocco is the author of a book called Habits and Happiness: How to Become Happier and Improve Your Well-Being by Changing Your Habits. Fabulous. Perfect. And it was actually the title of your book, Brocco, that led me to contact you for this summit because it was just so incredibly perfect.
Thank you.
Brocco is also a certified positive psychology coach, and he's got 3 courses on Udemy, which is a course learning platform on happiness. And his work has been endorsed by many, many positive psychology and happiness experts, including Sean Acor, who is the brother of Amy Blankson, who we are interviewing on this summit as well. So be sure not to miss Amy's interview, which is absolutely fantastic. And so, Brocco, back to you. When did you write this book, Habits and Happiness? How did you get into the habits and happiness arena?
Good question. So I was, for a number of years, Dale Carnegie certified trainer and a business coach. And I just love that idea how we can, change really ourselves, our mind by changing our habits or doing different things. So I got involved in learning and studying science of positive psychology or science of happiness. And as you just mentioned, Sean Acor was actually teaching that in Harvard. So was Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar, who was now my great friend, my mentor. And I took a 1-year program with Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar. And throughout that program, I was doing a lot of research on habits. And as I was doing the research, I started implementing a lot of habits. And that really got me into, just kind of putting some notes and writing about it. And it ended up to being first a little book, and then ended up to being a real book, which was published in July 2014, end of last year. Not
Fantastic.
End of July, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So in your book, you talk about 20 or so habits that can help us live a better life. So first of all, what is a habit?
Great question. So habits are really things we do, emotions we have, although we don't even think about it, or thoughts we have. So just to give you a quick example, things we do. So we tie our shoelaces, we brush our teeth, we drive, for some of us that know how to drive. We don't think about it. Those are the habits, right? Then you have the emotions. So sometimes something will trigger, and we can go over trigger later on, what that really means. Sometimes will trigger, if you think about it, that often you just feel good all of a sudden, or you feel sad, or you feel great, or so something will trigger it. So that's the emotions. And then you have a thinking habits, and that is that something will trigger your thinking. To give you an example, I live in New Jersey, and anytime, if I wake up in the morning and I see beautiful white covered, background with the snow, I think of my childhood as I was growing up in Sarajevo, former Yugoslavia, Bosnia, and just always played, on the snow with my kids and friends. So that's thinking. Now, there's one more type which I don't really believe you will find in literature, and I think I coined the term. If I didn't, anybody can really claim this term. But I called it circle habits, and I think it's extremely important. And I know some folks, and one of them, Dr. Donna Marino, really took this to her clients and told me that has a great results. And here's what circle habit is. Often we say we are going to do certain things, and maybe it's just me, but sometimes you say, well, next week I'm going to start exercising, right? Or next week I'm going to start eating healthy food. Or, starting Monday, I will stop, having that cookie every day, 3:00. And then what happens? Monday comes, next week comes, we just don't do it. We say, well, I'm going to do it next week, right? Because this week is tough, I'm on vacation, and then I'm going to do next week and so on. So we go kind of into the circle, into this loop. And what happens is that not only that we don't start the habit, which is really not the worst thing, but the bad thing is that we start feeling bad, some of us. We start feeling bad because we told ourselves, we tried to convince our brain that we're going to do something, but we don't. And then that's really not good for us if we start feeling bad. So my suggestion, if some of your audience members, I know myself, I have them and I catch them often. If you have circle habits, I think you have two choices. I know you have two choices. So one choice is to say, listen, forget it. Just Nike, just do it. I said I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm starting and that's it. Right? For some people that works. If that doesn't work and you tried a couple of times, you say, look, I'll give you an example. Like 5 years ago, I wanted to start exercise and I said I'm going to do next week. And then I stopped the circle habit by saying, look, I am busy now. I get up 5 o'clock in the morning. I leave at 6. I come home at 7. I just don't have time. I'm going to put it off for 3 months. And you can decide whatever that time frame for you is. Just put it off. Don't think about it. And then 3 months later, or a month later, whatever the time frame is, you're going to reevaluate again and see if you can start that habit or not. That, I think it's important to understand about circle habits.
Yeah, that's very good, because I think a lot of people just stay in the loop and keep struggling and feeling bad, and they can stay there for years.
Yes.
Wow. So is the circle habit the same thing as the habit loop?
Oh, thanks. That's a great question. So here's what the habit loop is. Any habit that you have, we can explain by the habit loop. So any habit starts with what we call trigger. Something, or some people call it cue. It is guarantee something triggers your habit. So let's think about the habit that we all have, brushing our teeth, right, in the morning. We all do it. Some of us do it as soon as we wake up. Some of us before coffee, after coffee, right before go to work. There is something, before shower, after we don't think about it, but we do it, right? So something triggers. So then the next thing, the first thing is a trigger in the loop. The next thing is the habit itself. So we're brushing our teeth, that's our habit. And the third thing is the reward. So in this case, we feel good, we smell good, we're kind of ready to go. There is a little problem with reward. And the problem is, and we can, go through some examples later on. The problem is that our brain doesn't know the difference between what's good for us and what's bad for us. Meaning that it doesn't really know the difference between long-term goal and short-term goal. Because some people will ask me, think about something that we do and we know it's not good for us.
Yeah.
I'll give an example for myself. I know I still do it. I love hamburger. I'm sorry for those, vegetarians and people that don't eat it. It's just really an example. So Fridays, and used to be, I would go with my friend, we'll go to diner. You open up that big menu, here's that big picture of the burger, and it kind of triggers me, and I know he's going to order one, and it triggers me to get the burger. Because my brain is focused on that short term. Get that burger, you're going to feel good, you know you like it, right?
Yes.
Now I'm going to have a burger, so that's what triggered it, right? In this case, the big menu, or I'm going with my friend, or there's a certain place that you go, whatever it is that triggers it. I have the burger, and that's the routine. And reward, immediately, I kind of feel good. The burger was good. And then an hour later, I go, I really shouldn't have that. I want to lose weight. Mm-hmm. So how come my reward, how come do I get reward? That's what people really get confused with the habits. Why do I get, what's the reward? Where the reward is short term. And that's what brain focuses on. So we have to think about how to trick our brain to focus on the long term.
Yeah. So that doesn't work. That doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
For those short-term habits, and we're not able to change anything or get the things we want in the long term.
Yeah, in this case, maybe you can think about some of us an hour later, don't feel so good. You feel full, your stomach. So you can kind of like, I say talk to yourself. Sounds crazy, but we'll do it. So why not say
it? Of course, yeah.
So kind of talk to yourself, talk to your brain and say, hey, I know that you want me to have this burger, but an hour later, I'm going to feel bad. So instead of thinking it's not good for me because I'm going to gain weight or I'm not going to lose weight, because it's long term. Brain doesn't care about your 10 years old goal. It only cares about now. So you can always find something, like in this case, I would say, well, an hour later, I know I don't feel good, so I don't want to have a burger. And hopefully brain will listen to you.
Because and you're saying an hour later, because that's another short-term reward or anti-reward.
Yes. It's a short, so focus on something or short-term, right? Like if you have a lot of food, you feel good while you eat it, but then later on you kind of feel like I'm full, I just don't feel good. So think of that. Don't think, I shouldn't have a lot of food. Think of that will maybe make you not feel so great.
Okay. Perfect. Without knowing, I've done that a lot because my weakness is chips, I have to admit. And sometimes when I'm going down the aisle, I'm like, oh, I really want chips. I'm like, I'm going to get them. I'm like, Tina, in a couple of hours, you're going to be full of water retention and you're going to just hate it. And then I can walk by. But if I don't think of how I'm going to feel in an hour or two, it usually ends up in the cart.
Bingo. So you got it. That's exactly what we should do. Awesome.
Oh, excellent. So now another great example is, exercising. So many people have trouble getting into the habit of exercising. So how can people start? How can people continue? I know you've got a great example around that.
Yes. Can I just say one thing before we go to exercise?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Just a general about habits, and then we'll jump to exercise if you don't mind. Yeah. There was a research at the Duke University that shows that 40% of what we do are really our habits. And then there was another research by Sonia Lubomirsky that shows that 50% are genetic. So when people say, well, I just gained weight because it's genetic. Everybody in my family did it. All right, I'll give you 50% chance, right? That's 50%. 10% is circumstances, life circumstances. So where you grew up, how you lived, where you lived, your family, right? But 40% is habits, based on so many different researches. Again, in this example by Duke University and Sonia Lubomirsky. So the reason I'm saying this is because it's important for us to understand that we can change and introduce new habits. So now we come to exercise. So here's a great way to start any habit, and let's think about exercise. There's something that Dr. Carl Weck calls small wins. And what's the small wins? Again, the brain, when you say, well, in 3 years, I need to lose, 30 pounds, the brain goes, 3 years down the road, we'll think about that later, right?
Yeah.
Or starting tomorrow. A lot of us, here's what we do with exercise. Well, next week, I'm going to start exercising. And I'm going to exercise 40 minutes a day, 5 days a week, right? How many of us, I bet you a lot of people go, yep.
Yeah.
Right? I tried and I said that to myself, that's what I'm going to do. Problem with that is that it is way too long to say I'll do it for 45 minutes. So let me give you an example. Let's focus on these small wins. Here's what small win is. You want to start exercising and you haven't done it in a while? Do what I did. If you happen to have something at home, it could be a treadmill, you can just walk around the home, doesn't matter what it is. Here's what I did. The day one, I put running shoes next to my bed. That's all I did. I woke up in the morning, I put my running shoes on. Felt so good. I reached one of my goals. And what happens is, there's another thing that we'll probably talk about later, but your brain gives you a little bit of dopamine, that happy chemical. Mm-hmm. Now you feel good because you achieved that goal one. And you say, I'm done. The next day you go, well, what I did again, shoes next to my bed, wake up, put my shoes on, and I went to the basement and I looked at the treadmill. That was all I did. Bingo, I achieved my goals. It's only, we're talking 1-2 minutes.
Yeah.
The next day, I'll go on treadmill for 2 minutes. So do this in a very small increment, because 2 things will happen. First of all, you'll think of this small win, which is your brain will think, well, when I say your brain will think,
Yeah.
Well, 2 minutes, it's easy to do. Anybody can do it. Well, what's a big deal? I can do it. And then when you do that, you're going to get a little bit dopamine, which is this happy chemical that will make you feel good. So it will make you do it again next time, because all you're going to think about next time is, I need to be 1 minute on treadmill, and then 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes. So do it in a very, very small increments. Don't set the goal, you're going to exercise 5 days a week, 45 minutes a day, if you haven't done it in a while. So do it little by little. And that's really great. It's actually a funny story. You mentioned Amy, right? So his brother, Shani, he actually is a great story. He's got a great story. He went as far as sleeping is in his running clothes. So when he wakes up, he's ready to go.
Oh,
and it's another tip. I didn't go that far, but I think it's a great tip.
That is a great tip. So, and in terms of changing our habits, like let's say for exercise, we're not exercising, we're in the habit of not doing it. And does it take a lot of willpower to make that shift?
Love that question. Love it. So, and I love to talk about willpower. There's the good news and bad news with willpower, right? We all have it, right? But there is a limited amount. We all have a limited, it's a finite resource. And the great story, actually, if you want to study willpower, Roy Baumeister will be really the person, he's a researcher who's done famous research. When Roy Baumeister, what he did is he invited 3 students to come to his lab, and he basically divided them into 3 groups. Before they came, they told them that they cannot eat, they shouldn't eat 3 hours before they come. And then that morning, they baked like fresh chocolate cookies in the lab. So the whole lab smelled beautifully. They placed cookies all over the lab. And they told group number 1, you can have as many cookies as you want. Just enjoy yourself. Group number 2, they said, sorry, you can't have cookies, but have a radish. You can have as much radish as you want. And group number 3 is what we call in psychology control group. So they didn't give them any directions.
Yeah.
Then, well, the good thing is nobody really cheated. People kind of smelled the cookies. Nobody really had, group that was told that they can't have cookies. They really didn't, and so on. So they all followed directions. Then they gave them the exam, actually the puzzle that was unsolvable. And they told them that that's really why they're there, just to try to solve that problem. Because it was really unsolvable puzzle and they knew it, not because of that, but again, it was unsolvable puzzle. The group number 1, the group that was told, have as many cookies as you want, stayed 20 minutes, tried to solve the problem. The group number 2, the radish group, gave up after, I think, like 8 minutes or so.
Wow.
So what they realized is that the group number 1 didn't have to fight the willpower. They had a cookie. They didn't have to fight it. Group number 2 already depleted all the willpower they had. So when the exam, when this unsolvable puzzle came in, they just gave up so quickly. So what's important to understand from this is that, again, we all have it. It's a finite resource, and just watch how you use it. The reason I say this, when I learned about this, now if I have an important meeting, I have a presentation to give. And let's say I just happen to run into or see a piece of chocolate, or I don't fight it. I just have it. I just take chocolate. Because I don't want to deplete my willpower for a stupid piece of chocolate against important presentation. And there's one more important thing, Tina, is that we can increase our willpower. People go back, we can. Now some people researchers don't 100% agree. Like, I know my friend Dr. Tal Ben-Shahar is not big on this, but there was a research done when they basically had people to eat, and I tried this. I did this exact research and worked for me. So to eat with non-dominant hand for, they say 21 days, I say takes 30 days to have it at least to establish. And in a row, meaning that you do this 4 days and take break for 3 days, do for 7. No, it's 30 days in a row. You really want to establish habits and create these neural pathways in your brain? Sorry. Then it will take 30 days in a row. So one way of, again, increasing your willpower, long-term willpower, is to brush your teeth with non-dominant hand for 30 days, or, like I said, kind of came out, or eat even with non-dominant hand often. Try, I mean, I know it worked for me, and I can explain how and why, but definitely worked for me.
So you said you can explain, or you can't?
I can't. So I'll give you an example how it worked for me. Because people then say, well, but how do you know it worked? So here's my real lifetime story. I used to love Dunkin' Donuts, just the donuts, right? And if I pass by Dunkin' Donuts, I'll have a coffee and I'll have a donut. Well, one day, and I just realized this later on, one day I just passed by Dunkin' Donuts, I stopped by and I ordered a coffee. Lady looked at me, I swear to God, true story. Lady looked at me, there was a big sign, it says, free donut with the coffee. You don't see this often, right? I swear to you. Lady looked at me and said, by the way, today we have free donut with coffee. I said, no, thank you. And I didn't think about it. I took my coffee, I sat in the car, I said, oh, I didn't take free donut. What happened? And that was the time when I just established that when I was about 30 days or so into this brushing with non-dominant hand, which is not easy to do because you're used to brushing with your dominant, right? Yeah. So what I did is I moved my, toothbrush on the left. I mean, I put everything to help me to establish this habit. That's another little trick, but.
That's fantastic. I can't wait to try that. That's fascinating. I've never heard that before.
Trust me, give it a try. I mean, I hear from a lot of my clients that they say it really works. Basically, to do something that you haven't done before for 30 days. And the other thing is, anytime you establish one little habit, it triggers another. That's why people that are healthy, they don't just eat well, they exercise, they maybe get up early, they meditate, but they start little by little. You can't just say, let me do all of this. Once I hear the summit, now I'm gonna, implement everything because I've heard, 22 great speakers and, pick one thing at a time.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. It's definitely, you can't just swamp yourself with things to implement. And what about recognizing the habits that we have now, like the good habits and the bad habits? Because these things are on autopilot, most of the time they just happen. And we don't even realize what our habits are. So how can people start identifying or recognizing what their good and bad habits are?
Great. Thanks so much. I think great question because it is so important. Again, like you said, we don't think about their habits, so we don't even know we have them. Yeah. So here's what I did. I actually I created something, just a simple chat that says, my existing habit and do I want to keep it, yes or no? I don't know if you can see it, but I'll just kind of read it. So it basically said my existing habit. So you might say, well, in my case was, eat healthy breakfast. Do I want to keep it? Of course. Exercise 5 days a week, yes. I used to, when I was writing this book, I used to drink soda. And I said, do I want to keep it? No. That was the first step. I knew that I want to stop drinking. And then I, but how I stopped is another story. But so basically you create this little list. You say my existing habits. Here's what I want to keep. Here's what I don't want to keep. That's the step number one.
Yeah.
And then step number 2 is you may want to think about your habits. So, and way to think of them is you create again a little chart that says, and again, I'm sorry, I know this is not visible, but I will just explain.
That's not bad. That's good. Yeah.
But I will explain briefly. So basically you create a little list and say, here's the habit I have. What time do I have it? So I'll give you an example. I exercise. What time? Well, it's Monday through Friday, day and time, 5 a.m. Location, my basement. Other people who's around me, no one. Emotional state, I'm energized. And immediately after, what do? I meditate. This little trick with immediately after, you can basically have one habit trigger another.
Ooh, that's nice.
Which I love this. So that's how I established. I do like 4 habits in the morning. So you want to do exercising, and let's say, you want to do something else. You can say, just before I exercise, or right when I end the exercise, I will start 1-minute meditation. So that end of exercise will be trigger for your new habit. So that's how you can connect to healthy habits.
Fantastic. That's really nice.
Yeah. Does that help? Is that?
Yeah. I think that's fabulous. And what about remembering to do new habits? Are there some tools that people can use to start when they're starting to do a new habit and they're like, oh, I was going to do that today, and whoop, it was gone?
Oh, that's an awesome question. I have something what I call the reminder habit. It sounds crazy, but it's almost like you have to remind yourself, all right, to do the habit that you can't really remember to do. So here's what I do. A couple of things you can do. I'll have a different bracelet, right?
Yeah.
So this happened to be actually from Sean Aker. It says happiness is a choice. And this bracelet currently reminds me to live the moment. So if I look at the bracelet, I just take a deep breath, and I know that this is the only moment I have. I know that, the past is gone. I'm not going to worry about it. I know future is not here yet. So this is it, right? So if I look at the bracelet, I'll start eating mindfully. I'll do whatever that means. So this is what it is now. And until I feel really good about it, then either I use the same bracelet for some other reminder, or I do something else. So you can use so many different things as a reminder. Most of us have a watch. You can, as you kind of look at your watch and see what time it is, that could remind you to take a deep breath, right? When you drive and there's a stop sign and you have to stop anyway, when you mindfully stop, it could give you a second to say, I'm going to mindfully drive from now on, right? So you can, some of us have, maybe there's a necklace, anything that you already have with you or around you in your home, or you can create one. I started now another thing recently where I meditate while I brush my teeth. Why not? Right? I have to brush my teeth anyway. So usually we have no clue where our mind is. Who knows? Right? Yeah. Do you ever know where your mind is when you brush your teeth? I don't. Yeah. Right? So, and I have a little reminder on that little thing where I keep a toothbrush. It says meditate. I printed it and I kind of put that little label. So when I pick it up, I see that it says meditate, and then I'll just think of, the feelings I have, brushing my teeth, I'll just focus on that.
Perfect. And now you have, in terms of changing our habits, like we talked about how to, have the small wins when you're adding a habit in, but when you're changing a habit over, you have a set of 7 steps, 7 secrets to doing that. Can you briefly go through these? Have you mentioned them already? Like, what's the 7 secrets package?
Sure. So let's go briefly. It's actually funny, Tina, how I came up with these 7 secrets. I actually was I was rereading my book. It's not really in the book, but as I was rereading my book, I realized that there are really like 7 things inside that can help us change our habits. So the number 1 is believe you can change your habits. This really comes from work by Dr. Bruce Lipton, and basically what it says is that once you believe that you can do something, and in this case, you can change your habits, your body, and you know this, more than anyone, your body down to the cell level changes. It's amazing. Your cells change as you believe into something. So, I mean, if this isn't good enough, so that's number one. Yeah, if you don't believe it, trust me, it's not going to happen. And number two is, based on my research, I found something really cool, which is, I think I mentioned earlier, that we can release our own happy chemical. That we can actually get the dopamine by doing certain things, by creating small wins, by smiling. I have a habit that I smile every morning, 5 a.m., I hear the alarm, I smile. Now, do I feel happy every morning? No. Sometimes, you just feel miserable. You got to go to work, you hate it. But right? 5 a.m. Come on, I got to go to, exercise. But I smile because I know when I smile, I'm going to get a little more dopamine. And then when I get a little more dopamine, I'm going to feel better. And as I feel better, my day will go better. So that's number two. Number three is small wins. We talk about it, right? Yeah. What we can do. Number four is the willpower. And we talked briefly about willpower and the tools that we can do, to improve it. That's, I think, the key message, and that, not to deplete it, not to use it for something that's really not that important. Number five is actually cool. I love it. That's the 20-second rule. It really comes from Shine Acker's work. And what it is if you want to do something, make it 20 seconds. If you don't want to do something, make it just 20 seconds away from you. To give an example, you want to kind of stop watching TV or watch less, take the battery out like Sean did, put it somewhere on the third floor if you have a large house, or just hide it somewhere. And when you sit, it will just make it's only 10, 20 seconds away from you. But chances are you're not going to get up to put the batteries in. So put it in, what I do is, I go 8 o'clock is my reading time, so I'll go upstairs to my bedroom to my reading, and makes it really inconvenient for me to go downstairs to take a snack. So that's how I stopped eating snacks. It's away from me. Or, I'm sure some of your folks will talk about, healthy food, but the question is, how do you do it? Okay, once I know what to eat, well, make it 20 seconds, away for something you don't want to eat. So if it's unhealthy snacks, move your chips down to the basement. Put the apples and the fruit on the kitchen table on the eye level of your fridge. Don't put it on the bottom because you're not going to look for it, right? Yeah. So that's 20 seconds away. The number 6 is accountability partner and support group. There's a ton of research. And actually, there was research published in British Medical Journal with 10,000 people that shows that people who had support group lost on average 15 pounds more than people who didn't. I mean, that's amazing, right? So make sure you have somebody that, even Dr. Martin Seligman, who is we call father of positive psychology, he has his own support group. He knows that you need to do recommended 10,000 steps a day to be healthy. And then at the end of the day, they reach to each other and say, hey, Marty, did you do 10,000? And if he goes, oh, no, I didn't, they'll go, well, Marty, got to go out, go take a walk. So this is really good. And the last one, number 7, is to make an announcement. Just, everybody that listens to this, that they're going to listen to all these great, amazing folks, and they're going to get million great advices, right? So pick a few or pick all or do whatever. Tell everybody what you're going to do. I'm going to lose 5 pounds in 3 weeks. I'm going to start exercising next week. Put it on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, email. Just tell everybody. And then it's just going to be hard for you not to do it. You don't want to disappoint the whole world. So make sure you make an announcement.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's really great. And actually, one of the things that we have with this summit is we have a Facebook page that I call the Lifestyle Medicine Lounge. But the idea is that it lives on after the summit to be a community and a support and an accountability for people. Because so many people don't have that. They don't have a support and accountability. Other people that they live with or their friends may not be into living a healthier lifestyle, or so growth and development minded. So having that support in that community is really important.
I love it. Count me in. I will definitely be there to help folks. So they can reach out.
Fantastic. Can't wait to have you in the group, Rocco.
Thank you.
So what about when we have a bad habit? Do we need to break a bad habit, or do we just need to start putting the small wins of a good habit in to force it out?
You're just asking all these two good questions. Seriously, this is so important because I didn't even think about it. Here's the reality. We can never delete our habit. So say you have a bad habit, you created that neural pathway in your brain. It will never, sorry to say this, it will never get deleted. It will always be there.
Okay.
So,
not like this so far, Rocco.
So if you think about some bad habits, people, unfortunately who used to drink or smoke, and that's always somewhere there. Mm-hmm. The only thing you can do is replace it with another habit. So, to give an example, we talked about that I used to drink Diet Coke. Well, I said Coke, Diet Coke. So here's what I did. I knew that was bad, and I knew that I can't just easily say I'm going to stop. So this is where people get caught, They say, I'm going to stop drinking this, but they don't know how. It's there. That pathway is there. So here's what I did. I used to drink Diet Coke when I would be Saturday, Sunday, I would go out, mow my lawn, get, sweaty, come into the garage, open up a fridge, get a Diet Coke, cold, nice, pop-on, go out, continue working, come back, have another one, right? So I said, hold on. What do I really want? I want to replace only one part of that habit loop. I only want to replace the habit itself. So I wanted to drink water instead of Diet Coke. So here's what I did. I took out the Diet Coke from the fridge. I put the water in the same spot. So when I opened up the fridge, the ice cold water was right there. There was no Diet Coke. So what triggered me to go there? I would be tired, sweaty, cut along, coming back. Now, what was my routine? I would open up a fridge and get the Diet Coke. This time, open up a fridge, the same spot had the bottled water. I got the water, right? So I drink the water instead of Diet Coke. What was my reward? I felt really good. I felt good after drinking water too. So I replaced only that one part of the loop. The trigger was the same. The reward was the same. But I replaced the routine. So that's how we can replace. When you think about this, when people smoke, so they give their gums or to chew or to do something.
Yeah.
Why do they? It's the same thing. To replace that habit, they have to do something they used to. So that's why I don't know what they do today. They have so many different things, but right?
Okay, so we're starting to come to the end of our time, but I want to ask you one more question about the example that you just gave. Because sometimes we'll see this with patients where they'll say, well, I can't, I can remove it from the fridge, but my husband or my wife wants to drink it. So how does someone do that? Do you just come up with a deal? Like, hey, let's put it in the back of the fridge. You don't want to change. You can go hunt for it. Let's leave my water in the front. Like, how does that work? Do you have any suggestions for that kind of situation?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think there are a couple of different ways, right? Hopefully you have understanding partner and, you will say, look, I know you love Diet Coke and it's fine, or whatever you drink, keep drinking, we can't change anybody but ourselves, right? But can you please help me out? And can we please maybe move it to the bottom? Can I please put water here? Maybe that's a one way, right? That's probably the best way. And then the other way is, which is harder, to increase the willpower a little bit so that you will not get that Diet Coke, right? Or you will, if your partner doesn't let you move it, you put water next to it. Something that, hopefully you don't see it, but if you do, make sure that another thing that you want to drink or eat is next to it, so you'll easily, a little easier change that habit.
Excellent. Perfect. And now you have a special gift for our audience, Rocco?
Yes, of course, Tina, I do. So the special gift is I have a couple of programs on Udemy, and the one program everybody will get free. I think, Tina, if you don't mind to post a link but that program is basically will give you a little bit overview of habits, and then it will give you 5 habits to keep you happy and healthy. So we'll go through each habit, what to do, and give you an example and kind of exercise and so on. Hopefully everybody will be able at least to pick one out of these 5 and really use the lifestyle as our new medicine. I love what you do, Tina.
Fantastic. And so just by going through your course, they can work 5 healthy habits into their lifestyle.
Correct.
That's
yes.
such a fantastic gift.
Thank you. And it's very possible that some of these habits, someone on your summit already recommended, so now they'll just know how to change them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. And the name of your course is Happiness. These 5 habits will help you improve your health. So, absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for being here today, Bracco.
Thank you, Tina, so much. Honored to be here, and good luck to your audience and happy new habits.
And thank you. And I guess we'll all see you in the Facebook group.
Absolutely. And anybody feel free to reach out, and I will definitely come and help everyone who will seek for help.
Wonderful. And thank you so much for watching this interview, and check your email inbox tomorrow morning to see the interview lineup for tomorrow. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the morning.